want to go here to State Senator Tom Barrett, GOP, out of Charlotte. He's on the other end of our line right now. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the final day of February.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Hopefully spring will be here soon.
Yeah, no kidding. The sun was feeling good yesterday afternoon, and the better half and I went to and we went to a show with orchids, and it was really warm in there, and I just wanted to take off my winter coat and throw it. But it was kind of cool to see. Anyway, look, I have to ask you, before I get to the state Senate stuff and mixing tax cuts, House and Senate, as a whirlybird pilot, somebody who's had a long career in the United States military and our National Guard, I know you're watching carefully the military portion and political portion of Russia versus Ukraine. What do you make of this defense that Ukraine is doing against the Russian bear?
Yeah, it is. It's first of all a complete tragedy. What's going on? Of course, I think that goes without saying. And of course, Vladimir Putin is no friend or ally of the United States.
No.
And I was honestly surprised at the aggression and the overwhelming and just unconscionable aggressive actions that Putin was taking. But the defense by the Ukrainians has been just incredible to see. And really, an outsized military defending their homeland and really defending their national sovereignty is just something that is really, really heartening to see. I mean, it's devastating and sad, the circumstances that they're under, but it is really impressive to see the tenacity that the Ukrainians have and the fight that they have in them. It's unlike any of the partners we've had in the last 20 or so year-long war on terror. I mean, you look at the evacuation of people out of Afghanistan, for example, and unwillingness with partners in Iraq or Afghanistan to really set stability within their own country. And we never really had a great willing partner in any of these conflicts we've had over the last 2 decades. And then to see the Ukrainians kind of going it alone and defending their own homeland and just digging in and fighting back was really something I was very impressed with.
It's amazing. Yeah, it shouldn't be amazing, but because of these other examples you cited, it makes us go like, whoa, they really this matters to them. They're willing to put their life on the line to defend their country. And that's what a concept, right? I mean, what a concept. Right.
And it makes you wonder, what do I care about in my own life?
Agree.
To that level. And it really makes you kind of humbly think about that in your own life, of what are the things that are that important that you're willing to fight and die for. And for some people, that's not anything. I mean, there are some people, sadly, that don't have anything in their life worth defending to that level. And we've been so disheartened and discouraged over time. And, I've seen this in my own experience in the military, like I said, with some of the conflicts we've engaged in without that willing partner with the fire in the belly. And I don't mean to condemn every single person that we've partnered with, but the system as a whole, in a lot of these particular places we've been, we haven't been able to find that willing partner in a real, holistic sense in their own particular country to bring things together and rally their side. So President Zelensky has done a great job of that in Ukraine right now.
I thought one of the stories on Fox was really illustrative, too. They went to Poland to see refugees coming into Poland from Ukraine. What surprised them was seeing Ukrainian males getting on trains, crossing the border to go to Ukraine to take up arms.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, so Vladimir Putin did not count on that in any way, shape, or form.
In fact, I still believe unconfirmed. I haven't been able to see if it's been truly confirmed, but the count of Russian soldiers that have been killed by Ukrainian forces is in some, according to the Ukrainians, it's maybe 2,500 or 3,000. That's more troops than we lost in the entire conflict in Afghanistan as Americans. So in a few days' time, if these reports are accurate, the Russians have lost more soldiers in Ukraine than we lost in 20 years in Afghanistan.
In one of the more interesting articles I read, there was a lot of what I would call spammy trash on this over the weekend. I was just like, God, this is not an informed opinion. But somebody wrote one who was a military analyst and said, and you would relate to this too, that the non-commissioned officers are the core of America's armed forces. They are not the core of Russia's, and low training mixed with conscripts only there thinking this is training, they were lied to, and not prepared for having their rear cut off supply line is a cocktail for. It doesn't mean that they don't have numbers they can throw at it and maybe sway the balance, but
it's really fascinating because you're right. The non-commissioned officer corps, we call it the backbone of the Army here in the United States. And I was a non-commissioned officer before I, had the fortunate opportunity to go learn to fly helicopters. I was a non-commissioned officer. That's what I was when I was in Iraq and Guantanamo Bay. You are tasked with real leadership, and it's, you're not a commissioned officer with a command authority, but you have that boots on the ground direct supervision and leadership, really leadership more than supervision of troops, that is a paramount importance of the military. They often take young lieutenants who are newly minted, 22-year-old kids out of college, and they tell them, this is your non-commissioned officer, the sergeant first class, the first sergeant. You follow them. They will keep you out of trouble.
That's
they
exactly
will basically give you the experience that you need to become a better command level, authority. We say the most dangerous words in the Army are a new lieutenant saying, "Follow me. I read this in a book somewhere." And, that's why you have those non-commissioned officers to give them that experience that they don't have.
Senators, I told you before, my dad was a Marine. I mean, I think I asked him once, Dad, did you ever meet a general? He goes, I'm pretty sure I saw one, but I had a gunnery sergeant. I did. This is my sun, moon, and stars. I didn't need to have any of that other brass around me, et cetera. Now, I've blown through all of the caution signs and stop signs for the segment. Now I have to ask you back to talk about tax cuts and spending. We do that if we make arrangements off air?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And
because I've run out of time.
No, that's fine. I would just briefly say I think we do need to start exporting energy to Europe to help really put Putin in a disadvantaged position, in regards to Ukraine and other things that he may be seeking as well.
State Senator Tom Barrett, we've run out of time. It was an interesting conversation, especially talking about the defense portion of it. Thanks for being here today. Take care. We'll talk to you again very shortly, okay? 1320, Morning Wake Up, WILS.